from Lake of the Ozarks. We're back in Nebraska. I'm getting the boat ready for another tournament coming up here soon. We had a good little tournament. We got 26th place out of 237 boats. So this video is just kind of a recap. I'll show you guys some of the things that we got on in practice, which wasn't too much, but we definitely had some patterns run for us in practice, and then tournament day they just didn't pan out for us. So we kind of fished the conditions, and we ended up filling out a limit in the last 45 minutes of the tournament, which qualified us for the national championship for next year. So I'll show you guys what our setups were, what we were catching the fish on, and kind of the areas we were fishing tournament day that provided for us. One more thing, we did lose some footage. Not really sure how that happened, between two different SD cards. I don't know, I guess I probably got something mixed up, but I did get like most of the release videos of the fish, so at least you'll see, kind of have an idea of how many keepers we caught in practice. But for some reason I didn't have like the full video of them fighting all the way to the boat. So if you see a random release video, that's what happened. All right, enjoy.
It's all you.
Look at, he choked his rock on. Alright, we gotta show the GoPro.
Yeah, fuck weird. TV's wrong. TV's wrong. Oh, dude, he gobbles it.
Why'd you eat it like that?
Thought we hooked into a big one, just a drum. We could choked it though. Thing is gone. I thought that was a nice one. Just caught that spot, and then next cast caught this drum. Just caught one off a brush pile, watched him eat it on live scope on the Strike King jerkbait. There's a boat behind us, so I just let him shake it right at the boat.
go. Choked the hybrid hunter.
Walleye? No. What is that?
It's a bass. He's so pale.
Oh, fuck.
That does look like a walleye.
We weren't recording. Eli just caught a keeper and I just caught a dink. Same dock, so might be onto something. Just shook a couple more off. Me and Eli both got bit at the same time, so we'll come back here tomorrow and hopefully we can catch some that are keepers. That pretty much wraps it up for practice. Didn't have anything crazy going on. Caught a few nice keepers, quite a few shorts, but I think in the long run, not having an amazing practice helped us just because we were able to put our heads down and fish the conditions on tournament day. We didn't have ties to those spots that we fished in practice. We did try them, they just weren't panning out, so we didn't stick around long. But in practice, we were catching the fish for the most part on a jerkbait over brush piles, and using Garmin Live Scope, it was really nice to be able to see a fish eat it and watch 5 or 6 others with it, following it up, competing for it. That just allowed us to save the fish for the tournament day. Not that it ended up mattering anyway, but for future tournaments, that's always nice to know that you have fish there on tournament day. And so I wouldn't even have to take another cast back at that brush pile to see if there was bigger fish or if there was more fish, just because I could see them on Live Scope. So we normally caught a keeper at a spot and then moved on, tried to find it somewhere else in the lake, try to replicate it somewhere else, but really didn't work too well. We did catch quite a few shorts on a certain dock. Caught a keeper on it too, shook a few off, went there tournament day. There was a boat there and didn't catch any on it. So it's just how it goes, but tournament day went well at the very end of the day. So let's get back to that. Number one. That one's there.
What's your thoughts on today, Greeno?
Squeaked her in right at the last second.
Clutch time, baby.
So the end of the tournament was pretty hectic. Not sure what happened to our very first fish catch and one of our last fish catches, but our first one was barely a 15-incher. I caught it on a wind-blown point at our very first spot we started on. It's kind of a boulder point, but it also had some smaller rock mixed in, so it's kind of one of those transitions. That's where we ended up starting. I caught that fish really shallow, actually. It was like as soon as it hit the water on a Strike King Thunder Cricket. I would say it was probably in like less than 5 foot of water. It was right at the end of my cast, and I think that fish was probably just pushed up chasing bait, so kind of a random little deal. And that same cast, Eli actually caught one on an A-rig, a short. So we fished a little longer, couldn't catch anything, so that's when we went up to the spots where we fished in practice, and that didn't pan out. So we said, with probably 2 hours left in the tournament, let's run back down and let's try to find more places that set up similar to where we caught that fish in the morning. We had nothing to lose, so we started fishing wind-blown points in that dirtier water and couldn't catch anything. So then we pulled up to this one point, and while we're fishing this point, I'm looking into the back of the cove, and I see all this timber in the back of it, and the lake's pretty low. It was probably 5 or 6 feet low when we were there, so it was kind of unique to see as much timber as there was in the back of that cove. So we ended up going back there and trying it, and we fished the way back. Wind was just funneling into this cove, brush in the back, set up really well. Even though the water temp was only like 45 to 47 degrees, the fish were just back there because of the bait being moved by that wind. We saw numerous gizzard shad kind of swimming around. You could tell they were wounded, still alive. They were just not right. So we saw those fish back there, and that had to have been why those bigger bass were back there, and numbers too. So that first one I caught was not on this exact color. Not really sure what happened to it, but it was kind of a blue craw color. But just the Strike King Hybrid Hunter. Brought it right over a lay down and watched her eat it. So that was like a 3+ pounder. And then before I could even get mine out of the net, Eli hooked up with one on a spinner bait with a red accent blade, and the net was still occupied with my fish with treble hooks in it. So he just flipped it in. We were getting pretty excited at that point. We didn't have much time left, but we knew it was possible to do pretty good in this tournament right at the end. So we ended up following that pattern, and we went down the lake further and just drove probably at like 40 miles per hour looking for similar coves that set up like that one did, with wind funneling in the back. So we kept driving, couldn't find much that set up similar. We found one place that just didn't have the same amount of wind. We didn't catch anything in there, so we decided let's go back towards the main lake and try to find the same thing but with wind. So we went back there, we found some similar places, and that's when you saw me catch one on a black and blue Nico rig. With as much wind as there was, I put a nail weight in one side with a weedless hook, because I was pitching it right by brush piles and kind of letting that wind just drift it right in front of it. Not sure what happened to the other one, but I caught 2 fish back-to-back casts with that black and blue Senko right at the end. They were barely 15 inchers, but they filled our limit, so we were happy. Yeah, so Eli caught that big one. We caught those other 3, and then we caught quite a few shorts in the backs of those pockets, also on a chatterbait, Strike King, this exact one. But we've probably had 3 or 4 that were 14 3/4 inches, so not keepers, but there was more fish back there. And I think if we would have had more time in the tournament and had more spots that set up similar that we could have found in practice if we were on the same deal, we could have done pretty well. So that's going to be it for the MLF college tournament at Lake of the Ozarks. My next tournament is at Table Rock Lake on April 8th. Should be a little closer to the spawn. Hopefully we can catch them good. Please like and subscribe and follow me on my other social medias. I'll have those linked down in the description. Thanks for watching.